Right. So by unpopular demand, I'm going to share a game and some tips, hopefully, for some chess. So see if I can do this. So the volunteer is Big Sammy Finn, who kindly asked for it. I did say it would be a shambles if I lost, but anyway, I'm going to try and make this as quick as possible. So played the game against him, 10 minutes. For those who know me, know I hate 10 minutes and I'm shit at it. But we had a game. Let's go into the analysis and I'll try to pick out some bits and pieces. I tried to make the game as instructive as I could and put in as many things as possible that are worth noting. If my internet survives. Right, so what the fuck is going on? This is why you should always pick live chess. Here we are. Okay, cool. So we're off. So start. All right, cool. Starting. I've said this to other people. Basically, what you want to do is instead of trying to learn 1,000 different openings in chess, you always want to pick one and smash it out as much as you can. That way you automatically know what your opponent can do and what the best kind of responses are, so to speak, and it'll become natural. A lot of people choose to play 10-minute chess because they need to think about their responses for every move. I don't really have the energy for that. I'd probably be a much better chess player if I tried it. But instead, I pick one. I've got about 3 openings that I use over and over again. The main one I use for people under 2,000 are, in effect, Fool's Mate or Scholar's Mate. But I know every response to it, and 99% of the time I'll be better off. So let's run through it. So I go, obviously, e4, e5. This is quite common. Bring the bishop out. Basically, what I'm doing is cementing the center of the board and development. They're the 2 things you want to start off with. Firstly, you want to make sure you push pieces into the center like that. Obviously, that's a shit move, but you want to get as many pieces into the center as possible to begin with, and then support them, and that way you'll be in a better position to win. Bring my bishop out. Sam replies. It's all in effect by the book. Good moves. I'm sorry for the lag. Okay, so this has all been here 1,000 times, so to speak. As you can see, the bar on the left, it's a dead draw as we stand. He brings his bishop out. It's a good move. In effect, he's bringing it out with tempo, which is something you also want to look to do. If you can bring out a piece and attack another piece, like a queen, you've just got a free development move, which is great. I step to the right, and I think this is his one. I think he has 3 blunders, and this is the first one, okay? And the reason that's a blunder is because it's hard to explain. He didn't see that, in effect, that then lets his pawn hang, okay? Which is irrelevant if it didn't also give a check, and I've heard this before. Every move you make, the 4 things you want to look at are: 1, can I take something? 2, am I being attacked? Or I'd probably sort them. 1, am I being attacked? 2, can I take something? 3, can I give a check? And 4, are there any tricks? The tricks obviously are something you learn a bit later on. But he pushes out, in effect, threatening my bishop. Seems like a good move. Problem is, I can take. And the issue is that while it would appear that he can take back with his knight, and I can't recapture it because his queen would take, the fact that I can then give a check and add another attacker to whatever takes this means it's, in effect, a blunder. He notices, or doesn't notice this. He actually played some amazing moves throughout the game, despite being rated 500, so hats off to him. I'm not sure what that is. Perhaps he thought that because my queen is almost trapped, I mean, I've got this square here. If he pushes that again, my queen's kind of trapped. Anyway, take that with check. He blocks with his bishop, and now it kind of gets interesting because this brings up a concept that people will probably be familiar with, which is a pin. So while that bishop's come back and is in effect adding another attacker to my knight, it's stuck because it can't move because the king's there. Apparently that's a mistake, although when you look at it, I'm still completely winning on the left. So I am unsure how that's a mistake. My thinking is basically to pin the king in and force the queen to sack itself, which doesn't end up working. But anyway, throw in a check. He brings out his knight, best move. I then put in a check with that, forking his king and his rook with his knight. Knights are always great for doing this. It's something you should always look at, is that knights can fork pieces absolutely amazingly. He steps up with his king. Now, this is interesting, actually, because objectively I've won. I'm all over him. But by stepping up with his king, he's actually put me in a bit of a sticky one, because this knight here is now free to take my queen because it's no longer pinned by the bishop. So whilst obviously I want to continue with my attack, maybe if I was being silly, I'd just take the rook. I have to get rid of this first to stop my queen falling. He then takes it back with his queen, which is definitely a blunder. He probably should have taken it with the knight. I don't know. But anyway, he takes it with his queen. I think, let me collect my payment. Thank you. He then steps back, I guess, to remove the pin of the white bishop. I bring this up, pinning his knight, double attack. Now, it's interesting, just to say, is that I did see this move of putting this on the back rank, but it's just a reverse move order. Queen goes here, he has to step up, and I go here, and in effect, it's take, 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 and then bring this out with tempo. This, I thought, would be more fun because it puts him in a massive pickle, which was kind of what I was going for most of the game. Anyway, he brings his bishop out with a check, but it doesn't work. He's just wasted a move, in effect. I don't see that as a blunder. Apparently the engine does, but anyway. Okay, so check takes, forking the king and the rook. It's unfortunate because if he steps up here, he actually doesn't have a move apart from blocking with the queen, which therefore means that this is lost. Goes here, he steps up, and I come back. Now there's actually he goes back. Now I then go for a fork with the queen. Always look when you've got a queen and an exposed king in throwing in checks with a queen that also attack another piece that's hanging, i.e. this bishop here. He has a fantastic move here, which I saw and wasn't sure if he'd find, which is to block my check with the bishop and reveal a check on the king with his queen. Okay, so it's kind of it's a skewer. It's his queen is eyeballing my king through a bishop, and therefore by moving the bishop, it's a free check and he'll win my queen. Brilliant move. The problem is I can move my queen in front and offer a queen trade. He doesn't accept. It's kind of relevant. The queen's gone now regardless. He pushes forward. We get the queens off the board. I develop quickly. Force that back. That's a blunder. I'm not sure why it's saying that's a good move. Oh, because if he'd gone here. This is actually just hanging a bishop, poor guy. Basically, I'm just trying to get the pieces off the board at this point. Check. Bring that back. Take that, take that. He's just hung that. Right, anyway. Now we've been in the endgame for a minute, but this is the endgame. And the point with an endgame is to work out the cleanest way to win. I began thinking a nice thing to do would be to show you how to create a bridge with a rook to cut off the king from entering the position and then march the pawn up the board. Annoyingly, there was a much nicer checkmate, so I stopped. But you'll see. He is just moving pieces at this point. Throwing that. So this is the bridge. By bringing this knight, rook up here, I've limited his king's board to these squares here. So he can't enter the position. This is what I meant about making a queen, but then despite it forcing mate in full, the computer's getting annoyed that I'm doing it because it's a wasted move. Check, check, and then I see the checkmate, which is bring it back. This stops his king from entering. These cover these squares here, all these squares. So he goes back, and that's checkmate.